Of everything added in the full release of Grounded, the most surprising and one I never expected is magic. In this video, I'm going to show you how to become a wizard or witch in Grounded. So what we're going to be looking at today in this video are the magic weapons and the magic armor piece that was added in the 1.0 update for Grounded. In my hand, I have the mint staff, which is one of the weapons that was added. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the 3 different staves in action against some of the upper yard enemies, because it's better to show them off against tougher enemies. And then I'm going to show you the hat, also the mutation that you can unlock with these, and then basically the setup that I recommend and when I recommend using them. So first off, we're going to use this mint staff here, and I'm looking for some ladybird larvae because they're one of the most common enemies you find up here. And here you can see, here's one right here. So we're going to block it. And what you're going to see is it's actually freezing him. And now this staff is at level 5. And it has like a little bit of a charge there. So this one is really close quarters. You'll notice each of them has a different attack type. This one looks like it's got to be charged up a little bit. To be honest, the mint one is the one I use the least so far, just because it doesn't have a projectile. And there you go. So that wasn't too bad. As long as you're good at blocking, this staff is pretty decent. Let's try out the sour staff against a ladybird larva next and see how that goes. All right, so here we have another ladybird larva. This time we're going to use the sour staff. And what you're going to notice is this one's completely different. It shoots a projectile out. And what this projectile does is it stuns the enemy, or it has a chance to stun the enemy. And now if you charge it up, it can have a much better stun. But you'll notice that what it does is it'll stun them for quite a bit of time, and it killed it much faster than the mint. Lastly, we're going to take a look at the spicy staff against a ladybird larva. Now, the ladybird larva are resistant to spicy attacks, so this one probably is not going to do that well. But I just want to show you all 3 of them off, just to show you how they work. So here's one right here, and this one's going to shoot basically like this blob. And you'll notice it did not do very much damage because the ladybird larvae, like I said, are resistant to spicy attacks. Now perhaps we're going to get lucky here, and it's just going to get stuck. Holding down the attack button will actually do a charged attack, which is going to do much more damage. However, you're going to be at the mercy of getting attacked, because if you get hit in the middle of doing the charge attack, you're going to end up taking damage. And I guess we're getting super lucky here with this ladybird larva just getting stuck. You're noticing, though, well, it just finally got unstuck. So we're going to actually have to block a little bit. It's basically taking much longer to kill just because of the resistance. So you do need to be mindful of what the resistances are. I thought I heard a mosquito coming, but maybe not. So that's the 3 different ones in action. Really quickly, before I get assaulted by anything else, let's go up here on this rock. And I just want to take a look at the 3 different variations of the staff, just to tell you when they're like, kind of just like look at them. So the mint staff, as you can see, it does a minty thing. So I guess it kind of freezes them. I think that's what it does. So what it does is it kind of freezes them in place. It's going to be useful against enemies that obviously are weak to mint attacks. The sour one is going to do stun. You can see it has maximum stun here. Now I did upgrade it, but the upgrade only upgrades the damage. This stun attack will stun everything in the game if you hit it consecutively. Sometimes it does it on the first try. I was able to kill wolf spiders fairly easily. We'll see if we can find a wolf spider. I think there's a wolf spider right around the corner. And basically what I do is I kind of use them in conjunction with each other. Then we have the spicy one, which is going to do the spicy damage. So this is obviously going to be useful against enemies that are weak to spicy, although it is pretty useful against, especially in the lower yard. It's going to kill everything. So what I want to do is I want to go find this wolf spider over here and show you how I use them. Now, one thing you might have also noticed is I have on the wizard hat. The wizard hat is going to give you Wizard's Defense and Wizard's Duel. Those statuses are going to be over here. So the Wizard's Defense attacks with staves increase your perfect block window for a short time. So it's going to help you perfect block, which is going to be necessary because you're going to probably be having to do a lot of hand-to-hand combat here where you're blocking a lot, even though these are ranged weapons. It's going to give you Wizard's Duel. Perfect block increases the damage you deal with staves for a short time. So that's kind of what we're using here. Now, I would probably recommend, and I have not completely unlocked the set yet. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to try this out later on using it with the pieces of the moth armor, and probably the whole moth armor as a set. I just haven't killed enough moths to be able to make the moth armor set, because the moth armor set will apply to this because it does buff range damage for ranged weapons, and the staves do fall into range damage. But what I want to do is show you how I use these in conjunction with each other. So basically, the 2 that I prefer using are going to be the sour staff and the spicy staff. So what I do is I usually use the sour staff to stun an enemy, and then once it's done, I'm going to switch over to the spicy staff, especially if they're weak to it, as this wolf spider should be. So hopefully we can get a stun on the first attack. We're just going to do the full charge here. So unfortunately, we did not stun it on the first try. And we're missing our shots here. So you do have to be accurate. That's one trade-off here. So there it's stunned. What I'm going to do now is switch to the spicy. And you're going to see the spicy is going to do way more damage to it. Just because it's weak to spicy. And we got it there. So the great thing about the spicy is you don't have to be as accurate. If like basically if you shoot it and something like if I shoot this right here, it doesn't even have to be a direct hit. Now anything is going to kill an aphid, but that's besides the point. Now you did notice I took a lot of damage there because I missed my blocks. So there is a trade-off for this. These things are very powerful. However, if in the case there where I didn't stun it right away, what ended up happening I just started taking way more damage because I missed one of my blocks and I got poisoned. So those are kind of how they work together. Like I said, using one at a time I would not recommend. We can try to use let's try to use the sour one right now, just by itself to see how well it does, because the fire ants are actually resistant to spicy attacks, so it's not going to work that well. This one is the hardest to use, but I think it's got the biggest upside. Actually, yeah, here we go, right here. We got one right here. So we stunned it on one hit. It's still stunned. You're going to notice here on these smaller enemies, it's just going to be useful because it's anything that has a low stun impact is going to be very easy to stun and just keep them stun locked. The bigger enemies going to be a little bit tougher. You also, like I said, these smaller enemies that are faster, you got to make sure you hit them. Uh-oh. And if you're like me and you're not that great at perfect blocking, you might actually want to perhaps use different armor. Maybe they're not the ones that buff, but if you're good at perfect blocking, it shouldn't be that bad. And you can see here, we got lucky again. The ladybird larva, for some reason, they were getting stuck on everything today. Now, one other thing I did not mention much, I don't think, is the status effect. So you can unlock a new mutation with the staves by killing 40, 100, and 200 for the different phases. This is Whittle Wizard. Mastering sufficiently advanced culinary technology, the apparent magic within the candy staves unlock different damage types, apply unique status effects to creatures. Spiciness burns, mintiness slows, and sourness stuns. So basically, the spicy is going to do more burn effect as you go up in level. The mint's going to slow them more, and the sour is going to stun them more. So here's a black ox beetle. You know what? Let's fight this. He's about to come over and attack us. We're going to eat something. We're going to eat our black ox meal before we fight this bad boy. I've not fought one of these with this weapon yet, so I'm kind of interested to see how it does. Hopefully he doesn't get stuck on this rock and actually comes down. Charge this. It is a two-handed weapon, even though it's only looks like it's one-handed. As you can see, he's stunned. So probably what the best strategy would be ooh, he wrecked us there, would be to hold, if you stun them, to hold the charge. He doesn't like us at all. All right, let's heal up real quick. Back off here. We're showing off our exemplary magician work or wizardry work here. Did he back off? He didn't full heal. Kind of want to try this one against him. That's not doing very well against him. What about the minty one? Let's see how that does. So we slow him down with that. Then we stun him with this. If we can get him stuck somewhere. These guys have big hitboxes, so it's pretty easy to hit them. And he's going to make it really easy on us and get stuck. So he looks like he's stunned. And maybe we switch back and slow him down a little bit. Ooh, we got out. I'm going to be honest. I can kill this thing much faster with most of the other tier 3 weapons. So I think it's probably going to be most useful against tier 2 and tier 1 enemies. Maybe if you found a use for it against a tier 3 enemy, let me know. But so far, it's been... He's trying... Like, basically, I'm having to like full out cheese this thing to keep this thing going because it's taken forever to kill it. So maybe actually what the better idea would be to... If we can get it stunned with this... Basically stun it and then go in with a different weapon and just start wailing away. That's probably the better strategy because to be completely honest, you can kill them very quickly with other weapons. So maybe the staves are going to be better off used as basically as a support weapon, not the main weapon, in which case I would probably recommend not using the hat. So anyway, I just wanted to show these off because I thought they were really cool. I unlocked them. One thing I didn't mention was how to unlock them. You actually unlock the ability to purchase them or to craft them after you turn in the termite hill chip. So once you turn in the termite hill chip, take that back to Burgle. You can buy the wizard hat as well as the recipes for the 3 staves. Real quick to look at the crafting costs because I did not show that off because they are not actually, they're pretty difficult to craft. The mint one's going to cost globs, pine cone, mint globs, pine cones, tough gunk, and crow feathers. That's the easiest one to craft. The spicy is going to be spicy globs, pine cones, tough gunk, and fire ant mandibles. So you're going to have to beat a bunch of fire ants. The sour is going to be the most difficult. It's going to require sour globs, pine cones, tough gunk, and pond moss. In order to get pond moss, you're going to have to get the black widow dagger because you have to harvest the pond moss with the tier 3 dagger because it's underwater. So you're probably going to have to kill anywhere from 2 to 4 or 5 Black Widows, depending on the drop rate of the super venom. I got lucky with the first one and it dropped 3, but then I had to kill 3 more before I got the last one I needed. So anyway, that's how to become a wizard or witch in Grounded. Let me know if you're going to be using this in the comments down below. And if you found this video helpful, here's another one you might enjoy as well.